We're going live. I got an airplane. And things have changed in the world of YouTube today. It's amazing what you see every day. Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. Hope everybody's doing well today. It is Wednesday, halfway through the week. For our friends overseas, you're almost done your Wednesday, which is awesome. You're making it through. You're more than halfway. For us on East Coast United States, we're just starting our Wednesday, so we're just getting into it. I'm Greg Mester, Agile Coach, Scrum Master, talking about here at 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. We talk about the practical and tactical ideas for Agile and Scrum to help you get home to your family or friends and do fun things on the side, with your family, projects, whatever you like to do. Get work done quicker so that your company can make revenue and money quicker and react to competition. And also, just so you have more fun, right? We kind of do some fun things. Got the airplane out. And it's funny. And I did this. And I would have started earlier. This is episode 114. Please like and subscribe, by the way. And, I log on every day in YouTube. So it's kind of an interesting thing when I do this every day. Everybody's like, well, you do it every day. I can't believe you do it every day. It changes every day. Things just shift, dynamics. So today, YouTube just put out a new advisory that says you have to determine whether or not your show is for kids. And I was shocked. So this has changed, right? Live change. So you're getting this live. This is like right now. I know they've been talking about it, but now they got advisory and you have to declare whether or not your show is for kids or not, or kids generated content. So I had to think about it a little while, and that's why I was kind of starting late, and I was going to talk about airplanes, right? We will talk about this, by the way, and then, but I'm just kind of going off of what just happened. It's like this is live, right? This is live. To declare whether or not the content was good for kids. I thought about that. I want my content to be kids because I want the kids to grow up. I want the kids to learn about interacting with people and how to work as a collaborative group. I guess I'm going to have to create a whole nother channel, maybe does once a week, on how to use Scrum and Agile with kids. Because, I touch about families and stuff like that. But, to eliminate that, I may build another channel that I'll put out like once a week or something that talks to kids and how to design events and how to use Scrum and Agile and group activities so that kids can watch it and they can share it with their parents and say, hey, mom and dad, maybe we can do this, or mom or dad, if you're a single family, or grandma, or your teachers, and use those techniques to use Scrum and Agile to do projects. So I might have to come up with a whole nother segment out there. But it was kind of disappointing. But you know what? Change happens. You have to be prepared. How do you want to do with it? I did click this content is not for kids. I don't curse on this thing per se, except for calling people stupid sometimes. Sometimes, or not people, but the idea of what they've done is like, no, that's not a good idea. So anyway, I just want to share that with you that YouTube has changed because they got sued a while ago, and now they're really harping on the children protection thing and advertising children. Though I have a toy, right? This is an adult toy. It's a Hess plane. It's not to promote this and encourage anybody. It's just something I found. So today I'm going to talk about two topics in Agile and Scrum. So I'm going to talk about Agile Coach accountability because I saw that some things on LinkedIn popping up on that, and that's a question dealt with that in the past, and also stand-ups. And why I have this plane, which is an F-18 ENF Super Hornet jet fighter. We'll talk about that, and stand-ups. And you're like, why is he got a fighter jet and stand-ups? You're going to find out. Anyway, so first we'll talk about Agile coaching and accountability. So it's always been a question, and I've been in multiple activities, whether when I was a Scrum Master or just someone working in the early days of Scrum. People get hired as Agile coaches, quote Agile coaches, right? I should put this down, right? And the question is accountability. I do believe that Agile coaches should be accountable for productivity. Now, it depends what your productivity measures are, right? Are they hired to come in to help build, um, let's say at the enterprise level, build systems of reporting and information that are agile information that you can share and use and give you advice on how to interpret that information? That's one, but you have to be clear on what your agreement is. And one of the things we talk about at the ATF, we do talk about that. How, as you as an agile coach, get that agreement with the on our ACC, that agreement with your employer, right? The consultant role. Um, but how do you get accountability, right? Because I've seen coaches come in and say, I'm just going to be a Jira person, or I'm just going to set up your system. I'm going to help you build the tables. That doesn't, to me, that's more administrative type things. It's not necessarily getting your team more productive. Now, to build a system that is the leanest system time wise and identify which fields on a system to use so that they're spending little as much time on the system as possible, that's productivity improvement. So adding more layers to the work, I don't know. Are you getting the value from that layers? Now, coaching teams is another question, right? So you have a scrum master, they're there. You're not the scrum master, right? You're not the one working on the team. So how do you get accountable? Well, I like to look at the velocity charts. Oh my God, velocity chart. What are we going to do? Why are you going to do that? I like to look at how it's been going, or if it was going before I got there, and then what does it look like after I got there, right? Is it all over the place? Commitments everywhere, all the things doing, or is it now the velocity and commitments are in sync, and now they're starting to improve? Are they doing retrospectives? Are they actually engaging and putting those things into place? Um, Blockers, are they showing up more blockers? Are they, you know, maybe this is the okay, so maybe this is one. I don't know if this is a measure. Um, I want to see more blockers on the wall. Some people don't want that, but I want to know, like, if I'm blocked, what is the rate of number of blocks showing up on the system? I want more blocks because I want to know when you can't get something done. I want the throughput to go up through the roof. I want you to declare you're blocked sooner than later. I don't want you to wait. I want to know, and I want some people engaged, and I want your team to help you fix that block. It's a different one, isn't it? I like that one. That's a new metric. Number of blockers, and your blockers should go up like crazy unless you design a system where you're not entailed in it. You have no outside obligations, right? If nothing outside blocks you, then you should be like performing like gangbusters, right? There's no wait time because you're doing it yourself. You're in the code. You're in doing the testing. You're not blocked. You're not hesitant, right? That would be a great metric. I think we should do that. We also talked about before a metric of, you know, happiness, right? So I wrote a couple of things you look at. What kind of metrics? I said velocity one, throughput. How long does it take to take a story from when you start working on it to it's done or accepted by the owner, right? Is that average velocity increasing, right? That would be a great metric because it's not a point metric. It's not an hour metric. It's really how long does it take you to go from start working on it to get accepted, and you want to get that smaller and faster, right? So that's a great metric to have from a throughput. Another one may be happiness. You know, the metric we talked about in another episode, the number of people leaving the organization, right? You can do surveys too. There's agility 360 kind of things, stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't. I get where they're going, but I don't know if that really measures happiness. The big question is whether or not the organization is really committed to improving happiness. So that's a tough thing. So agile coach is getting a tough spot. I want to help you get more happy, and part of my happiness is when I measure the subjective type things where I ask people, like I've had people that they go, "How's it going?" So when was the last time you took a phone call at home? Like one of my coachees back in another place was like, "Greg, it's been 3 months. I haven't had a call at home in 3 months." To me, That is productivity, and that's happiness, because we worked on the organization in such a way they didn't get calls at home for code issues and things like that. They got it all taken care of. People knew what they were doing. They were in a self-organizing team. Oh boy. Anyway, so that's what I say. Um, but I do believe, like, as a coach, you got to be accountable. You can't just throw stuff out. I've seen that where I've been one where an agile coach was hired just to build Jira. I don't know what the heck that is, right? Um, I've seen other agile coaches in other organizations that dictate down. I go, were you ever a scrum master? I don't know, but anyway, I do believe, and I've dealt with them. They would do stuff. They would help, remove blockers. Maybe you have to have a metric of how many blockers you removed from people. Maybe that would be a good metric. How many blockers did you remove this week? Maybe we need to take some. I don't like documenting on that, and you just got to trust me as a professional to do it. But maybe in some organizations, that is a metric which agile coaches need to collect. Like, how many people did you help this week? That's actually not a bad metric. Just to do that, just take a spot check. How many people did you help? At some point in time, maybe there's no one left to help because you've done a good job, and then you're really time to go, right, to your next group. But I will add one more thing. I've also seen where agile coaches are placed in a position, because I want to talk about the stand-ups because it's 11 minutes in. I had one agile coach the other day tell me he was in charge of coaching 36 teams. I turn around to him and go, you're going to fail, right? What do you mean? No one can coach 36 teams. I am sorry. Or 10 or 20, maybe you coach 5, and there really is something to that. You talk about coaching teams, like, I'll be honest with you, it's more like coaching intensively 2 teams at a time, maybe 5, getting them started. So there's like a phase approach, really intensive, getting some teams started. But max 5 teams you can really coach as a coach. It's true. It's not a misnomer. When I see someone say you're not really coaching 36 teams, you might be an enterprise coach establishing norms for the organization enterprise, but you're not really coaching 36 teams. That is a falsehood. So when people tell me that, I go, really? So what are you doing as an agile coach for 36 teams? Because physically, as a human being, you cannot do it. Can you imagine coaching 36 scrum masters, and every day, if you were to spend a half an hour a week with 36 scrum masters, you probably spend an hour. That's 36 hours worth of work in a week. There's 40 hours in a week. Tell me how that's going to work. It ain't going to work. And in order to get them, you really need to spend at least a half hour every week. My recommendation for scrum masters is like 3 times a week when they're coming off the bat. And I can go through my map, but that's how I do that. But there's no way you can do 36 teams. So you're going to lose. Your organization's going to lose. You're going to lose. Everybody's going to be unhappy. Don't do it. Do a rolling thing. Like I did when we did 5 teams at a time, and then we rolled off and did another 5 teams, and then did another 5 teams. But you can't coach 36 teams at a time. Anyway, so that's agile coaching accountability. Kind of briefly talking about that. Maybe we'll talk about some of those metrics, and maybe we'll dive into that, and I'll put some things out there for people to feedback. All right, stand-ups. So this bad boy, and why I had the airplane, just because it looks cool on the video and intro. So this is F-18NF. So when I was a young person in my 20s, I was on the first flight of this vehicle. So this sucker's old now, right? Because I'm old. It's like 30. God, I guess it's like 30 years old almost. Probably about 96. Yeah, about 96. About 25 years, right? So the airplane's about 25. It's an ENF Super Hornet, right? F-18. So before I knew what Agile was, we used to do daily stand-ups. I was working at Naval Air Headquarters, and we would be in Crystal City at one of those top rooms. And there was like 5 or 6 people, 5 or 6 of us. I was what do you want to call it, an intern or someone doing a rotational assignment. And we did stand-ups every morning. So tell me it doesn't work for hardware. It does work for hardware. It works for everything. So we had a stand up where everybody go around the room and say, but what they're going to be working on the day. So all the other 5 key people were there. We had the system engineer for the aircraft, testing, electronics. We had logistics, um, and we had myself and a couple other people that were helping out. And we go around the room and just say real quickly a 5-minute stand up. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning every day. What we had going on, who was meeting, because we were, I mean, this is the F-18, we were working on first flight. So our task was to get that bird in the air for the first flight ever, right? It's always a tricky thing and make it on first flight. My task, I was coordinate the $8 billion specification between Northrop Grumman, um, Lockheed was one, and then us in the military. And I had to go around with 200 engineers and coordinate and build that specification. And that was fun. I built a little database to track all that, just so I can realize who was missing and was not. So anyway, we met every day for 5 minutes, talk about what we're doing. And it worked great because everybody knew what was going on. We had a meeting with this admiral. This group was going on. We had the brief today on the status. Maybe we had a testing run. Maybe we were looking at Patuxent River. What are our test sequence? What are our plans? I mean, we used to go, I must remember, we had to count all the pylons on here to try to figure out how much logistical support equipment. We were trying to figure out how much we need to buy. So I do have experience with very large programs, but I've seen daily stand-ups work for everything. So no matter what kind of business you have, daily stand-ups work. And they're very good at letting everybody know what's going on. And it doesn't have to be a brief. It's just a short 15-minute discussion. That's all it is. It's not a working session, but just to share information. So with that, I'm gonna let it go because we're in the 16:54 mark. But we went off the kids thing. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Share with us. Hit the little bell on the YouTube thing so that you can get announcements when we do things. And I'll make more clips. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to wish everybody happy scrumming today. It is Wednesday. Enjoy your day. And it's getting cold here on the East Coast. So stay warm out there and happy scrumming. See ya. Bye. And go.